Good time of day, guys! My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Corpse Party Blood Drive. Last episode, we started the game, and it's been 2 weeks since the last one. Yeah! Fuck. I guess about last episode, I don't know what the fuck happened with my recording, but the game crashed after the scene with, the helicopter, and I was like, fuck, I lost my recording, so I switched to screen recording, which I'm just gonna do for the rest of the series. I do that every time I have problems with a game crashing, even if it's a fringe case. Like, specifically when I was doing Higurashi, Minagoroshi gave me that trouble, and yeah, it crashed like 4 or 5 times, which was fucking absurd, but yeah, I don't think it crashed ever again after I started doing this, so this might keep the game consistent. I don't know. Maybe I'll just start doing this for every game I play on my computer as a just-in-case thing. I'm doing it with Mortal Kombat Deception because I don't trust my, my Zimbabwean PS2 none at all, so yeah. Last episode we completed Chapter 00, or the prologue, as normal people would call it, and now we're gonna jump into Chapter 1, or 01. Yeah, let's do it. Returning. Cool. Alright, what do we got? I really don't know why the fuck the game doesn't let me, fucking increase the text speed. We'll just have to deal, so, yeah. A day had passed since the events at Shimorenjaku South Apartments. This was to be a significant turning point for me, and Mochida might have been a part of it from the start, except that fate seemed to have other plans for him. Miss Kwan, I have something pressing I need to get to, so if you'll excuse me. No, you sit back down. Satoshi, your score on that algebra quiz yesterday was rather embarrassing, don't you think? Like an owner training a puppy, Kwan gave him a strong glare and held up her index finger in reprimand. For the next hour, I'm going to give you a personal lecture, and you're going to listen. And then the next quiz will be a snap to pass. My dad died. I have to get to a funeral. Don't care. But aren't you an English teacher? Isn't algebra a little outside your field of expertise? Anything's possible if you put your mind to it. Okay. She seemed a little taken aback by that remark, puffing up her cheeks like a chipmunk in protest. Okay. But Miss Kwan? It's startling how alike she and Miss Yui are. I'm sorry! Looking both bemused and guilty, Mochida tried to get up and leave his seat in one swift motion, but he was quickly and easily caught, lifted up, and forcefully sat back down. Miss Kwan was smiling. She was actually enjoying this. Or what am I dealing with here? Miss Kwan was only the slightest bit taller than Mochida. This did make her taller than the average, but her arms were small and frail. There seemed to be no way she could possibly have lifted someone of his build. There's something fucking weird with her. She's probably like a ghost or something. I don't trust her ass. This whole situation was rather bewildering for him, and he made no attempt to hide his confusion. Now, let's begin, shall we? Yes, ma'am. He had no other option. Apparently, he was going to be studying algebra for the next hour, come hell or high water. Okay, meanwhile, at a local cafe near the school, Kishinuma and I were sitting down to speak with Aiko Niwa, the informant who led my friends to me the previous night. Yeah. Are you alright? Does your stomach hurt? I responded with a dismissive gesture while continuing to rub my abdomen with my other hand. Ever since the previous night, I'd had this constant, unbearable urge to pee. Why haven't you gone yet? What the hell is wrong with me? I mean, I know I got really scared and I hyperventilated, but can that affect my body like this? Did it change something in me? My bladder feels like it's fit to burst. Of course we need a character to fucking do this again, you know? Since Yuka, I guess, doesn't exist? She's kind of done nothing, so that's sick. So, where shall we begin? Aiko tilted her head and stared at me, looking me up and down, seemingly judging my every mannerism, my every movement. It was making me feel really self-conscious. I covered my abdomen with both hands, as if guarding it from her gaze. Thank you very much for your help yesterday. Think nothing of it. I only regret that your friends couldn't get to you sooner. Kisaragi Academy is quite large, so it took me some time to track down Kishinuma and the others. Kishinuma and I stared at one another, still unsure how to feel about this strange new addition to our entourage. Ayumi, Kishinuma. You two are survivors from Heavenly Host Elementary, are you not? We'd pledged never to discuss Heavenly Hosts with anyone else, which we'd always assumed would be an easy promise to keep. But now, casually and out of the blue, here we were. Why? How do you know about that? Well, you've been touched by the ever after. When people come into contact with the beyond, the color of their auras changes to something otherworldly. Something I can see. Okay, Lucario, jeez. Both Kishinuma and I were speechless. I just sat there staring at my palm, subconsciously trying to see my aura, I guess. Aiko was smiling at us triumphantly. Oh yeah, by the way, what happened to the baby teeth?
You said you were an intelligence agent, was it? For the supernatural? And you're a friend of Naho's?
That's correct. I'm the one who tipped her off about Heavenly Host Elementary, in fact. Shit. With short lines, it's just gonna auto-skip, because I'm trying to fucking, speed up the text. But whatever. The true source of the deaths and subsequent erasures that had turned our lives into a living nightmare was the Sachiko Ever After ritual posted on Naho's occult blog. Every fucking occult freak in this goddamn game is responsible for every single bad thing that's happened. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, Ayumi just being like, hey, let's do this occult ritual so we can be friends forever, yay! And then half of them die. And fucking Emmy at the other school did the same thing and all of them died. Naho made the fucking post and a lot of people, including herself, died. And now Aiko's saying that she told Naho about it, which caused her to make the post and caused so many people to die. Rad. I'd been a fan of Naho's for quite some time. So when I saw that, I knew I had to try it out with my friends from Class 2-9. And as a result, half of those friends were now gone. I suppose you're aware that Naho was involved in natural investigations on behalf of one Mr. Kibiki, no? I do remember him.
I am, and I know she hasn't been seen posting information on Sachiko Ever After.
Well, my business is of a similar nature. I gather data from spiritual hotspots and other supernatural locales, and sell that data to my clients for a fair profit. Not always money, mind you. Sometimes I'll do my dirty work in exchange for a particular spirit item that perks my interest. It all depends on whom I'm dealing with. It's entirely give and take. They want my information, and I want their cash, or their artifacts. Physically, Aiko was a very attractive young lady, but personality-wise, the jury was still out. Her words were calculated and emotionless. Her true intentions a mystery. One could call me an information dealer, but I prefer intelligence agent. And Naho was a good customer. My info on Heavenly Host proved to be her last purchase, however. Wait, but you remember her even though she died there. That's sus. At the time, Naho was single-mindedly excited about Mr. Kibiki's work. She believed he could qualify for some award with the information I found for her. Say, could you tell me, was Naho there in that other world you found yourselves trapped in?
Naho died, together with Mr. Kibiki.
I looked down as I answered. Despite everything she'd done, the memory of Naho's passing was still painful for me, even though it technically happened before you met her. She'd become one of Heavenly Host's lost souls and gone completely berserk. In the end, I was the one who finished her off. I see, I assumed as much. Aiko seemed completely unaffected by this revelation. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, yeah. Her tone remained even and her expression cold and distant. Honestly, I'd had about enough of her by this point. She was so devoid of empathy, it was almost offensive. I was genuinely starting to get pissed off.
And you're okay with that?
I do feel sorry for her, don't get me wrong. But I had a strong feeling things would end this way. There's no point in lamenting that for which I was fully prepared. Kishinuma continued to stare intently at Aiko with his own brand of cold, emotionless eyes. He was oddly quiet, though his anger was palpable. I clenched my fist. What about this girl? I believe she performed the ritual alongside Naho. Did you see her there as well? Gonna be Sayaka? Yeah. Aiko showed us a photo of a girl named Sayaka Oue.
No, I can't say I've ever met her.
I see. Aiko's expression was so unfaltering you could carve it in stone. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to say something.
If you're calling Naho your customer, I don't think you can really say you were her friend.
My voice was breaking with rage, but even if that hadn't been the case, my face must have read like a book. This icy bitch may have had only one expression, but I sure didn't. Oh my, do you have something against that word? When I deal with my customers, I give them a guarantee of the utmost quality and dedicate myself to their satisfaction. It's an unbreakable bond of trust, like one would have for a partner. And that's not always something you can say about friendship now, is it? I had no idea what to say. Seemed like Aiko was used to this sort of thing. Her response felt carefully rehearsed, like a sales pitch. Finally, Kishinuma broke his silence. Hey, I do want to thank you for helping us save Shinozaki yesterday, really. But spreading dangerous information just to pay the bills? How the hell can you sleep at night? Information is just that, information. It's harmless on its own. There's no good or bad. It's like a tool. It's up to the recipient how it's used. Anything can be harmful in the wrong hands, after all. Why, that cup over there could be used to kill a man just as easily as any knife. The hell it could! That's bullshit and you know it! Ayumi, do you agree?
Aiko, I'm sorry, but I hate the way you think. I feel it's irresponsible.
Her expression remained calm and collected overall. She looked shocked, but whatever. But her eyes blinked several times in rapid succession. It was the first outward sign of emotion we'd seen from her. Well now, it seems I've come to be regarded as something of a villain here. I can't say this is new or unexpected, but it never ceases to be disheartening. Aiko quickly shrugged off her sudden outburst and was back to her usual icy self. It doesn't matter now, anyway. We destroyed Heavenly Host. It's gone. An awkward tension filled the room, or at least our table. Let's get down to business then. There's a reason I sought you out. Something I wanted to discuss with you. Aiko produced a thick, hardbound file folder from the light blue bag she'd brought with her. She opened it to reveal several documents of a questionable nature. Is no one gonna question, like, how the fuck she remembers Naho, and Kibiki, and Sayaka? No mention of Taguchi, but who cares? I actually forgot he existed, but then I was like, oh yeah, Kibiki. There was a fourth person then, Taguchi. I remember him now. Among them were what looked to be a family tree, as well as numerous pages featuring black magic symbology or images that looked like tree branches.
Black magic spell charts? And is that the Shinozaki family tree?
You may find what I'm about to tell you a bit shocking. Aiko was looking directly into my eyes now. Her gaze was fixed, intense and unblinking. What Kishinuma said a moment ago is incorrect.
Huh? What do you mean?
Heavenly Host Elementary has not been destroyed. It still exists, even now.
Yeah?
Take a look at this. Yeah, that's the eyeless girl, Yuki, I think her name was? Aiko placed a black and white photo on the table. It wasn't the queerest of pictures, but there was no doubt that the location it depicted was Heavenly Host's elementary. Maybe because she has knowledge of Heavenly Host, she remembers the people who died there. Maybe that makes sense. Or maybe because it still exists and she's recognized its existence. I don't know. In the picture, a small girl could be seen standing in one of those all too familiar hallways, holding a hatchet in her right hand. Oh, I did not see that.
It's Heavenly Host! Where did this come from?
We have confirmation then. It's a photograph I've taken. Isn't that what they just call posts you put on OnlyFans? Ah ha ha! That's so fucking stupid. I didn't have the power to produce a clearer image, but this is the current state within Heavenly Host. So, what, Yuki is taking Yoshikazu's role? Cool.
I don't understand. What am I looking at?
I can't even describe what was going through my head at that moment. I felt like I was about to burst. Aiko, however, remained calm as ever while recounting her story. Let's start at the beginning. First, the red box from yesterday. After some time, I was able to open it, and I found these spirit items contained within. The box I'd found on Makina's futon. Inside it were, apparently, 2 stones resembling magatama, kama-shaped ceremonial objects from Japanese antiquity. Also included in the box were several more roughly hewn stones, as well as a lining along the edges consisting of crumpled pieces of thin, white paper. Unfortunately, most of the box's contents were broken or damaged. This pair, however, was still fully intact. Oh! It's the icon of the fucking game. The blood drive itself. Oops. I just fucking... Where's the message log? Okay. Okay, it'd be the top. They almost looked like a demented version of yin and yang symbols. Puzzle pieces that were clearly built to be slotted together. Aiko now held 1 stone in each hand and was motioning them toward one another as if to drive that point home. Drive as in blood drive! She's gonna fucking die. She's gonna blow up as soon as she puts them together. Spirit items are, in the simplest terms, items which have been infused with the thoughts and feelings of the dead. Clearly this thing's gonna be an important motif, like geez. Those who bear such objects will be visited by the spirits within them, or at the very least be forever privy to their memories and earthly laments. It's a wonderful thing. I may not quite look the part, but I'm actually quite an avid collector of spirit items. Ugh. Kishinuma and I briefly locked eyes again. We shared the same look of bewilderment. Aiko's personality was much more twisted than either of us had initially perceived it to be. Look at yourself, Ayumi! Christ! I tried to get a fix on this little girl's thoughts, and in doing so, I heard a vengeful cry and saw an image of a girl with braided hair in an abandoned school building. My curiosity having been piqued, I took out this camera. At this, she produced an old instant camera and placed it on the table in front of us, and tried to take a photo of the image in my mind. The result is that shot. How does that fucking work? Whatever. This particular spirit item only allows me to produce images from the exact moment in time when the picture is taken. The past and future alike are beyond its reach. I examined the photograph in greater detail and a chill ran down my spine. There was absolutely no denying what it depicted.
No.
I was actually shaking.
Without Sachiko Shinozaki, the school should have collapsed. It should have ceased to exist as soon as we escaped.
I believe the collapse was halted, perhaps right on the brink even. Maybe because of the person to whom that voice I heard belongs. Aiko motioned toward the photo in my hand. It could even be the girl in that picture. I wonder who she is. That is Yuki, right? The answer was beginning to dawn on me. A sudden cold sensation exploded through my body and I shuddered, as if trying to shake off the encroaching realization. God damn! You really think that hellhole is still around? Kishinuma leaned forward. The conversation was clearly beginning to engage him a lot more than it had been. Heavenly Host Elementary, or rather, the dimensional space that took on the form of Heavenly Host Elementary, fascinated me from the moment I introduced it to Naho. I began to research it independently, and learned that its true identity is, well, something like a new nirvana, a netherworld or hereafter, an otherworldly plane of death. Though ordinarily, one tends to think of there being only this world and the next.
A new nirvana?
Damn, something smells like teen angst. That's correct. You know about Yoshie Shinozaki, do you not?
Yeah.
Sachiko's mom, I think. And of her clinic, the Shinozaki Estate, wherein the grimoire known as the Book of Shadows was located.
Yeah.
Why? How could she know about that? A million thoughts, a million questions were running through my head. I was speechless. All I could do was sit there and hear her out. No, okay. It was like a muffled scream or a moan of agony. The sound you make when you want to make a sound but are barely able to. That one was a little more forceful. Good line. Accompanied by thrashing, it caused the nearby table light to fall over and roll along the ground. Please, dear, calm now. You need to stay calm. This was Yoshie Shinozaki's clinic, and Yoshie herself was on top of her husband, holding him down with both of her hands. She continued her Shinto purification chant. To prevent Seiji from biting off his own tongue, he had been gagged with a towel. Needless to say, he wasn't looking particularly well. Not far from where this was occurring, Sachiko stood aghast, trembling as she watched the proceedings with hesitant, sidelong glances. Izanagi no Okami. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I read that and immediately was like, Persona 4. Rad. Whatever. I know, Japanese mythology and stuff. Obviously, motifs are gonna be shared, but I'm sorry. It's fucking... Yeah. Izanagi no Okami, who visits the underworld and beholds our foul spirits, guide us to the cleansing waters of the Tachibana and the Odo no Ahagihara shores in the land of Tsukushi. Seiji, still collapsed on the floor, was clearly suffering. His body was bent into a most unnatural shape, and he was fervently clawing at his neck. Damn, he got Higurashi spoilers. I beseech thee, in the name of the divine virtues of the gods gathered here, to wash away the sins we've committed and the impurities that dwell within our minds and bodies. Sachiko's father screamed through his gag, foam beginning to froth out from its edges. He was going into cyanosis. Ah! Fuck off! Jesus Christ, I hate the directional sounds in this game. Ghostly images of Shinozaki women from ages past smiled down upon the event from the ceiling, laughing and mocking his suffering. Okay, it stopped. Christ, I swear to God. Like, I haven't played many horror games on my channel, but I guarantee that they... It's because I don't expect it. I don't expect someone to laugh in my right ear. Worse still, some of the women had traditionally blackened teeth, giving their smiles an unintentionally sinister edge. The atmosphere within the room was heavy, as if spirits occupied every empty corner, dancing and flitting about freely and joyously. Seiji's body sharply bent and began convulsing. Come into this world, multitudinous Okami of Haraedo. Dear, stay with me, dear. Mio Yano Mitama, I beg of you, please do not take him. Thanks. Her great-grandmother, Sarah, the head of the Shinozaki family, was among the black-teethed women laughing joyously at Seiji's suffering.
Daddy! Daddy!
So why was this here? His voice began to weaken and his convulsions began to lose strength. Finally, the last spark of life had left his body. His eyes rolled back into his head and all movement ceased.
Daddy? Why aren't you breathing?
Sachiko looked up, eyes glazed over with tears. Yoshie, too, was stricken with grief and despair. This is what it means to be a Shinozaki. To be part of the cursed bloodline. All men who marry in are guaranteed to die quickly. Not even Yoshie could circumvent that fate. So she turned to the Forbidden Book, an item she and her family had been protecting for generations from those who might misuse it. The Grimoire, the Book of Shadows. Kishinuma's just sitting there like, yeah, I might need to go. To lose a loved one was a fate she feared more than anything else. So she tried to offset it through black magic. It was an act of truly absurd foolishness. She must have cared for him so deeply, she would have literally done anything to see him again, no matter the cost to her own immortal soul. Aiko stared deeply into my eyes, seemingly fishing for a reaction to her tale. But then, what happened next was almost beyond belief. I continued listening, unknowingly stroking the wound on my thigh as— What wound? When did you get stabbed in the thigh? As unpleasant memories of my own foolish run-in with black magic oh, that's one. Durr! The Shinozaki blood that flowed through Yoshie's veins was more powerful than anyone could have known. Its energy spawned something much different than what Yoshie intended. By which, of course, I mean... I instantly knew what she was going to say, Heavenly Host. From the book, she created a new nirvana. There, one could coexist with the dead for all eternity. It was a new dimension cut from the netherworld itself, forcibly born unto the world of the living. Ah! Book! There was a goat skull, so you know it's creepy and satanic. Yoshie must have lost half her sanity right there. She tried to leave her only child, Sachiko, in the real world while living with her husband's soul in the new nirvana.
The land of corpses. But wait, didn't she fucking get pushed down the stairs by the principal and die? Or something? Like, what? Then how was she there and also in the real world to get pushed down the stairs by fucking Yanagi Hori or whatever his name was?
However, this nirvana had a mind of its own. Yoshie couldn't possibly control it, Shinozaki or no. I knew that all too well. Just like Yoshie, I'd experienced my own tragic failure with black magic at the Shinozaki clinic. Black magic has its own blowback of sorts. Her husband's soul was split apart and scattered in all directions. And Yoshie's life too was on the verge of being snuffed out. She knew she'd made a mistake. She deeply regretted it. And as she took what she could have only assumed to be her dying breath, her sole daughter Sachiko, in possession of a nearly limitless spiritual potential, absorbed the entirety of this new nirvana into her body. Okay?
Sachiko?
The poor girl collapsed to the floor, violently thrashing about as the weight of an entire dimension crushed her from the inside. This action had saved her mother's life, certainly, but death would have surely been preferable. Picking herself up, Yoshie rushed to her daughter's side in tears. Sachiko! Sachi! Why?
Mommy, don't die, Mommy!
Okay. Both parent and child were bawling. Pain mixing with relief mixing with pain again. Crying's hard. I'm not doing it. The little girl buried her face into Yoshie's bosom and just cried and cried. Yoshie grasped her tightly in both arms, tears streaming down her face uncontrollably. By this point, Sachiko's body had begun producing a dark blue aura. I'm sorry, Sachi. I'm so sorry. I can't even speak properly because I'm actually trying to act, but whatever. Mommy was wrong. Mommy has you. So from now on, Mommy will never leave you. she'll never even think of leaving you again.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was in the real world and then she got killed by the fucking principal. As you know, Sachiko is a direct descendant of the Shinozaki line, a thoroughbred. This means her power is greater than Yoshie's. It had to be, of course, for her to house an entire dimension within her body. Aiko took a big, noisy sip from her coffee mug. Okay? Why noisy? At the time, she must have been the strongest practitioner of dark arts in all the world, little girl or no. Did I do something?
Yet despite that, she wound up dying.
That's right. The same day Yoshie fell and died, Sachiko disappeared. That was 50 years ago now.
They were both killed by the principal.
Just as I suspected. Okay. I forgot that he also killed Sachiko. The principal's heinous actions are to blame then, for resurrecting the new nirvana within Sachiko, and creating the closed spaces we know as Heavenly Host Elementary. Wasn't he, as a ghost, like constantly jumping off the top of the building or something? It's probably because the school was the site of Sachiko's violent demise that her nirvana took on its form. Yet even then, with Sachiko reborn as a spirit in that realm, she was still all-powerful, seemingly continuing to exert complete control over it.
I guess that's why she was able to manifest so many different horrible things in there.
This was all starting to make a sick sort of sense. The pieces were falling into place and painting an absolutely awful picture. I shuddered to myself as I considered it. When you escaped, you removed Sachiko from the equation, but the nirvana remained, and is going berserk once more.
It should have just disappeared. This world would be better off without it.
This entire conversation was a roller coaster of emotions for me. At this point, I was just angry. Angry at everyone involved in this whole ordeal, myself included. Now then, if I may, I'd like to discuss something a bit outlandish with you.
Okay.
Would you like to see your dead friends again? Huh?
I mean, I wasn't really close to any of them, so not really.
That certainly got our attention. We both perked our heads up immediately. Spirits that have died in the nirvana are said to roam its grounds, trapped and unable to find rest. As such, your friends' souls may still exist on that plane. If you're gonna revive them, at least write it well, okay? At least write it well. Like, don't make it just no holds barred, bop, 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 everyone lives happily ever after. There are actually a number of useful magics listed in the Book of Shadows. She already tried to do that, but whatever. Aside from the spell Yoshie used to create the new nirvana, there's also a spell of revival, which you already tried, and I already know that, but apparently she does. Nakashima and I knew about that one all too well. Okay, yeah. Forcefully returning a life to this plane is, of course, dreadfully taboo, as it's considered an affront to the will of God by virtually all religious organizations. Huh? Kishinuma seemed a bit more confused than he probably should have been, though I suspect the look on my face may have had something to do with that. I'd performed that spell, the very one Aiko was describing. It took hours, failed miserably, and killed my sister. All at once, the guilt returned. I lowered my head solemnly. Aiko grinned at me, and I had the sinking suspicion it was because she somehow knew what I was thinking, though I couldn't be sure, and I certainly didn't know how she would. Still, who cares about bullshit like that, right? You can be blasphemous, you can break every commandment, bring it on! You'll do whatever it takes to resurrect your dead friends? No. Except for Morishige, fuck that guy. All you have to do is find that book and cast that spell once more within Heavenly Host Elementary. Your chances of success would be much, much higher there, don't you think? Hold on! Do you have any idea what you're saying? What happens if things get even worse? I didn't exactly mean to interrupt Kishinuma, but quite honestly, I didn't even realize he was talking. I was too focused on what Aiko had just said.
You know about it, don't you? Our failed attempt at Yoshie's place. Me and Nakashima.
Aiko tilted her head at me, that same wry smile creeping across her face. She'd gone from cold and emotionless to knowing and expressive in a mere instant.
I don't think we really believed what was happening to us. It was like a dream, even though it was really no more nonsensical than anything that happened at Heavenly Host, but whatever. What we saw was impossible. What we experienced was impossible. I thought I was going insane, even though we had literally just gone through a fucking death trap school, ghost realm, with ghosts and dead bodies and blah blah blah, which is also by all means impossible. It shouldn't have been possible. We shouldn't have done it. I want to put all of this behind me.
But it was real. Aiko pointed to the scar on my neck, then went one step further and lightly brushed it with her hand. Okay. I could feel that touch deep within my soul. I suddenly found myself swallowing my next breath, practically choking on thin air. See? You came in contact with something ordinary people could never even imagine. Do you really think you can just turn tail and run from that now? I looked down again, trying my best to avoid Aiko's gaze.
Do you really think I can do it?
When had I started crying? I raised my head again, intent upon looking deep into Aiko's eyes as she answered my question, but she looked so blurry through my tears. I could tell, though, that she was smiling at me. No, she's not. Look at her. It was that same expression, her new standard. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. Can you be more specific?
Can I really?
Yes, what is it? I want to hear you say it. What exactly is it that you wish to accomplish?
Can I bring everybody back?
Nicely done. Aiko patted my head, as one might a dog's after a successfully performed trick. What the grimoire produces are miracles, spawned from the wisdom of the witches, and these miracles hold the power to bend fate. Even if that fate is set in stone, so to speak. You are a descendant of the House of Shinozaki, a family of immensely powerful practitioners of magic. And since Hinole is no longer with us, this is something only you can do. Apparently not your mom, she's unimportant. My confidence was being bolstered by the minute, though in retrospect, that was likely Aiko's aim. Nonetheless, if there was still something I could do for my friends.
But wait, I don't even know where the Book of Shadows is anymore. Plus,
you're no longer able to travel to Heavenly Host by way of the Sachiko and the Ever After ritual now that Sachiko is gone, correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's what Yuki said anyway. Or Yuki Kano, a girl from the school.
Aiko once again placed the bluish-white Magatama stones from the box in either hand, this time fitting them together, though not quite the way they were supposed to interlock. That's where these come in.
What are they?
They house an exceptional amount of spiritual energy, as one would expect given that they're spirit items from the Shinozaki line. The voice I heard told me about them. They're called Ever After Stones.
Ever After Stones?
I leaned forward despite myself. The name sent a shiver down my spine, but now that I'd heard it, I had to know more. These two are one. Fit them together like puzzle pieces and chant, "Nirvana, I summon the dead," and all who are in direct or indirect contact with them will be spirited away. Okay. We both flinched at her chant, but Aiko just smiled. She must have intentionally oriented the stones the wrong way so the charm wouldn't activate. It's the same when you return. She tossed the stone she'd been holding in her right hand into her left, where it clacked together with the other. Strange, isn't it? This girl taught me the technique herself. Oh, Yuki did, or what do you mean? Aiko gazed longingly at the stones. She was clearly utterly enamored by them. It seemed as if they were the key factors in unleashing her newfound emotional expressiveness. But my focus was elsewhere. Without a doubt, the items Aiko now held in her left hand were extraordinarily dangerous. Possibly the most deranged, horrific objects in the entire world. Man, you're really diminishing the importance of nuclear launch codes, Ayumi. However, while Aiko was ogling? I never knew how to pronounce that. It's ogling, right? Ogling them with her left hand. Her right was feeling around for something in her breast pocket. She slowly removed it, producing an old black and white photograph. When had she taken that? It was the same photograph I'd seen at Makina Shinozaki's house the previous night. Yeah? It depicted a young Yoshie alongside her mother and Makina. When Yoshie was in her teens, she adored her Aunt Makina and would often go over to her place for a visit. The Shinozaki family, world famous for their spiritual abilities, and this was when it all started. The surviving elder of the Yagaura society felt it was too dangerous to leave these items with the Martubas, so he came here intending to steal the Book of Shadows away from them. But he felt it would be even more dangerous for the book and stones to remain together, so while he gave the book to Yoshie for safekeeping, he gave the stones to Makina. Okay. Yagaura society? Martubas? I never heard these terms before at all. And then there was that damned Book of Shadows again. Why did that have to keep coming up? You removed Sachiko Shinozaki from that school, and in doing so, you created the perfect storm of opportunity. Two-way travel to and from that dimension is now possible. It's no longer a one-way road. A new spiritual hotspot, something not of this world, has been born. She thrust the ever-after stones toward me triumphantly and continued to make her pitch, growing more excited by the second. I was legitimately speechless. What could I say? So how does she know that these stones work that way? And I don't buy that she took a photograph of Yuki holding a hatchet. I think she actually went there. Because how else would she know all this shit? Like, oh yeah, these stones, obviously that's what works for them, duh. Don't you see? That place is a gold mine. People can no longer claim the world of spirits is fake, or that spiritual investigators like myself are lying. It's all different now. Occult research can be legitimized. I'm even considering bringing people to that cursed dimension on tour if I can, to make a little extra cash. Kishinuma and I both reacted to the preposterous suggestion with a start. She couldn't possibly be serious, could she? I've deleted the proxy doll data from Naho's blog, so no one will be able to jump that way anymore. Only I possess the means to enter that place now. What could she possibly have been thinking? But weren't there those girls in the prologue who did it and then got killed anyways? Like, I wanted to stop her at once. I wanted to take those stones and break them right there on the spot before anyone else got hurt. But when I begin conducting these tours, however, I want to make customer safety my top priority. And you seek your friend's spirits, do you not? Well, reinvestigating that dimension could help you reach that goal. Our destinations are the same, Ayumi. Aiko leaned in as she spoke. Her breath, scented with the sugary sweetness of the extravagant desserts we'd been eating, tickled my nose. So what do you say? Let's go back to Heavenly Host Elementary together. One more time, shall we? I really wanted to conduct tours using the paper dolls, but missed my chance. Now, though, I have these lovely stones. I feel this must be fate, and I can make a business of it. Aiko seemed like she was on top of the world, but that just made me all the more disgusted with her. Yeah, it is kind of stupid. So how about it? On the other hand, she was offering me a chance to save our lost friends, and however remote that chance may have been, it stacked the odds frustratingly in her favor. I still couldn't just say yes, but I also couldn't say no. Honestly, I resented Aiko for putting me in this position. I glared at her for a moment before I said anything.
I can't answer that right now. Give me some time to think it over.
I'd almost forgotten Kishinuma was there. Of course he did. Sudden waves of guilt washed over me. He had an absolutely incredulous look on his face. I couldn't bear to see it, so I looked away.
We don't know where the Book of Shadows is anyway. Plus, how do we know those stones can actually do what you say they can? There's no way you could have already tried it, right?
Aiko smiled. She oriented the 2 stones so they'd form a perfect yin-yang symbol, then slotted them together once again. Immediately, the stones began glowing with a bluish-white hue and a stream of energy started to form around her.
You gotta be kidding me!
Aiko continued smiling and looked directly into my eyes. No need to decide now. Think it over. Yes, it's true. The full range of these stones' power has yet to be tested, so their true danger is as of yet undetermined. She slowly separated the 2 stones as she said this, and the energy surrounding her dissipated. But they're from the home of Makina Shinozaki, a prominent branch on the Shinozaki tree. Their authenticity and the credibility of my intelligence is hard to dispute.
Hell of a thing.
Can I see them? Kishinuma didn't wait for an answer. He grabbed the Ever After stones from Aiko's hands and began examining them carefully.
Hard to believe this is what was in that box. You weren't planning on keeping these stones all to yourself, were you?
Aiko seemed taken aback by the question. Way to go, Kishinuma. You managed to catch her off guard.
Half the credit for finding them is due to Shinozaki risking her skin after all.
Aiko seemed to ponder these words for a moment. Well then, let's make sure neither of us can go by ourselves. We'll each keep one of the 2 stones.
Alright. Give me one, Kishinuma.
Sure thing. Kishinuma plopped one of the stones in my hand, then slipped the other back into the drawstring pouch Aiko had brought them in and closed it up. There. He then casually handed the pouch back to its rightful owner. Rightful. Well, the pouch, yeah. Feel free to give me a call anytime you'd like. And don't worry, I'll even help you find the Book of Shadows, free of charge. Aiko flashed us the biggest, most gregarious smile I think I'd ever seen. And when we do find it, you will go with me, won't you, Ayumi? I closed my eyes and gave something like a half-hearted half-nod. Sure. Lowering my head without raising it again. It was interpreted as a yes, but I'm not sure I meant it that way. Good. That being the case, it's on me today. Aiko got up and grabbed the check.
No, I'll pay for mine.
I took out my wallet. I had no desire to owe this person anything. Aiko just smiled. Dutch it is then. Dutch. Oh yes, I almost forgot. I'd like you to have this. Aiko handed her thoughtograph to me. Now, it's not going to bite you, and I'm not asking any money for it. So please, just take it with my blessing. I completely forgot this is, like, the art style.
I despise her.
That's putting it blunt. Coming from the most despisable character I've ever come across, like...
Me too. Suzumoto, Shinohara, and Miss Yui. As soon as I'm done with those 3, I'm breaking this stone.
You forgot one.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Better make sure to break the other one, though, too, while you're at it. As if he'd been waiting for this cue, Kishinuma pulled the other stone from his pocket.
Kishinuma?
She doesn't know what it's like in that school. I mean, she was actually getting excited about going there. So I helped myself when she wasn't looking.
Kishinuma? That's amazing! You're terrible!
Hey, serious business calls for serious action. Though, Shinozaki, I don't know how to say this exactly, but about the whole resurrection thing. The whole situation with Suzumoto and the others should probably just be left alone, don't you think? You've gone through so much already, and have come really close to dying. And I don't think any of them, not Suzumoto, Miss Yui, Shinohara, or Morishige, would want that. Well, maybe Morishige would.
But that might not be true.
Ah, damn it, Shinozaki, just stop! Do you know how much Satoshi and Nakashima have been worrying about you?
I'm sorry. But Kishinuma, please, you have to understand. I just need a little more. I need you to humor me for just a little bit longer, okay? Please, just let me do this.
God, you're stupid. Whatever. Fine, but listen, you're not doing it alone. I'm going to keep one of the stones. I need an emotional attachment to the story, after all.
Okay.
It'll be alright, you know. I turned my gaze up to meet Kishinuma's. My eyes must have looked like saucers. Windows into a mind full of worries. Ideas and fears spurred by this unexpected turn of events. If anything happens, don't hesitate to call me, okay? I'm here for you. And I don't want you blindly rushing into dangerous situations like you did yesterday. I may not be able to offer much, but I'm confident I can at least protect you from harm. Kishinuma patted me on the head reassuringly as he said this, and I had no idea how to react. I felt warm and safe, but also a little annoyed, much like a younger sister being simultaneously comforted and scolded by her big brother. All I could say in response was...
Okay.
I could feel my eyes still bulging from my head, opened as far as my eyelids would allow. I imagined how I must have appeared to Kishinuma, and was momentarily embarrassed. Come on now, let's get you home. God, he's fucking patronizing.
Okay.
Oh shit, we actually moving around. Hey, it's the girl who died. Sup, girl who died?
He's late. Seriously, what is he thinking? That boy needs a boot to the head, I swear.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk. Ready to head home? Okay. Come on then, let's go. Oh.
I'm home.
Welcome back. Taking off invisible shoes. News of yet another bizarre death has just come in. This time, a Mr. Okabe, who was discovered within the city at this location, having suffered a broken spine. A Tokyo map was displayed on the television screen, marked with 2 red dots. The marquee at the bottom provided the headline, "Sudden violent deaths remain unexplained." Dinner will be a while yet. Maybe you should take your bath first, Ayumi.
Okay.
Without thinking, I'd left the socks I'd just removed from my feet on the living room floor and began walking toward the bathroom. Hey, socks! Ah! Scatterbrain. This was a bad habit of mine, so ingrained within me that it had almost become ritual. Mom did well to have caught it so quickly. I grabbed my socks and left the room. Don't know why that's information, but whatever.
Can I really bring them all back? If I use the Book of Shadows inside Heavenly Host this time, it just might work.
I set my bag down in my room, quickly and automatically grabbed my sweatpants and spots, and made a beeline for the bathroom. I was about to say, if there's a fucking, like, half-naked or bathtub fucking CG, then this game really isn't trying to be serious. And even before I could get that out, that's exactly what they do. When I got there, I threw my socks into the hamper with purpose, then began peeling off my school uniform. As I observed myself in the mirror, I began to murmur.
Blowback. If I'm not careful, the same thing could happen again.
I mean, I know it's supposed to be showing the scar, but game, you're not fucking subtle. Those burn marks on my neck and arms were whatever, were eternal reminders of what I'd been through at the Shinozaki Estate. I could clearly remember the agony I went through as they'd formed. I remember watching them sear into my flesh out of thin air, blood spurting from them as if I'd been knifed. I only survived because Hinoe sacrificed herself in my place.
I have to do it.
I tried to force self-confidence into my expression. When it wouldn't come, I slapped my cheeks hard. It was in me somewhere. I just need to be yanked out into the open.
You have to do your best, damn it!
I swear to fucking God, this game is so stupid. I mean, hey, at least it's not a fucking hentai game. I don't think I have to censor this. Should be fine. I lowered my head into the water ever so slightly, blowing bubbles in the water with my mouth. The pros and cons of returning to Heavenly Hosts were racing through my head.
This is the power to challenge fate itself, to rewrite it. And I'm a Shinozaki, so this is something only I can do. I have to show everyone that I can bring them back.
This game is not fucking subtle, I swear to God, what's with it?
If only I knew where to find the Book of Shadows. I need to get my hands on it again.
Okay. Hi again. You're seriously going to look for the Book of Shadows? Your lack of sense never ceases to amaze me.
Huh?
This was just about the last thing I expected. I couldn't help but scream. It was the same boy who'd found his way into my room last time, wearing the exact same clothes. He spoke to me without once turning his head to look in my direction. So, you know about the Nirvana now. You finally pieced it all together and realized what you have to do. He smiled, still facing away from me. It was a confident yet sinister grin, which you can apparently somehow tell.
Why and how?
Hiding one's presence is about as basic a spell as they come. There's no need for the blown gasket. As for why I'm here, it's to remind you. Apparently I couldn't do this, like, before you got in the bath. Remind you of who you are and what you have to do. Your bloodline carries with it a certain responsibility, after all.
You... Pervert, stalker, molester, I'm calling the cops!
My face had to have been as red as fire by this point. Shut the fuck up, Titless! Who'd you calling a pervert when you got the body of a grade schooler? Ain't nobody gonna want to see a washboard like that.
What?
Okay, game, going full generic mode now. My head felt like it now housed all the blood from my entire body. I imagined myself white as a sheet below the neck, and flashing red above it, on the verge of a megaton explosion. Just listen up. The Book of Shadows is back into Nirvana. Apparently I know that. It happened when you messed up at the Shinozaki Estate. It just has that self-defense mechanism, you know? Also, I just fucking... Here. He handed me the photograph from Aiko.
When did you... What are you trying to pull?
Just look at it, you blind bitch. Here, right the fuck here. I grabbed the photograph from his hands as aggressively as I could muster, then backed away slightly, putting as much distance between me and him as humanly possible. I like how Ayumi's mom just doesn't fucking care. Like, she had to have heard her scream, right? It was definitely the same picture of the little girl holding the hatchet that Aiko had shown us earlier. But I now noticed that she was holding something in her other hand too. Oh, the book! It was a hardbound book, around the size of a typical desk dictionary. And though I could barely make it out, there was a certain aura to it that looked an awful lot like a face. Sure. How has she not mentioned that that's totally fucking Yuki yet? Like,
God, it is!
If you want to use its power, you gotta go back to the Nirvana. Or should I say, back to Heavenly Host? Jump over there and get the book. And then maybe, just maybe, you can make your wish come true. He stuck out his hand and pointed it directly at my face, then slowly lowered it down toward my abdomen. He was now inexplicably pointing at my lower body, but as soon as I started to get self-conscious, he flipped his hand over and exposed it. and opened it, exposing his palm. There was another piece of 10 yen gum cupped there, the same kind as before. I'm not sure why I took it, but I did, without even thinking, okay? As soon as the exchange was made, he immediately turned toward the bathroom window, apparently preparing to make his escape.
Who are you? And why me?
My question seemed to stop him in his tracks.
Aren't you going to explain all this?
I wasn't about to drop my guard, especially given the obvious advantage this boy had over me. But he didn't seem like he'd come to attack me or anything. Rather, it was almost like he was trying to lead me somewhere, to show me the way. I can't answer that just yet. He turned his head toward me just enough that I could catch a brief glimpse of his eyes beyond his hood. They were ice blue in color, but gentle and sincere. They're the same color as yours. He smiled once more as he leaped out the bathroom window. I was kind of dumbfounded. I had no idea how to process what had just happened. Oh, now she hears it. What's wrong, Ayumi? Are you okay? Mom barged into the bath, brandishing a broom. It was probably the first thing she could find with which to fend off potential intruders. Too bad she hadn't been just a moment quicker. All I could do was squat on the bathroom floor and stare at her with hollow eyes. There was no way to adequately explain any of this to her. You know, you'd really think her mom would be important. Alright, is there... I apparently can't save. I guess I have to read until I can save. Christ. It was late at night and I still hadn't bothered changing out of my school uniform. I needed food though, so I decided to hit up the convenience store on my way back home. I'd picked up a bottle of olives, a pack of... Bottle?! Excuse? Whatever. A pack of tofu, some mineral water, and other various things to keep me going for a while. Right, because you live alone, don't you? The hell's this? I could hardly believe it. There was actually an occult section at the damned mini-mart, with all kinds of stupid stuff like spirit talisman magnets and anti-demon wards. I grabbed one off the shelf at random and looked at the company logo on the back side. PLPromotionsCo.Inc. I'ma make a guess. Quan is involved with them. I'm just guessing. For these last 2 months since we'd gotten back from Heavenly Host, it seemed like there was a real spiritual boom going on all over the world. Whenever there'd be a strange death or something, the public would be all over it, downright excited about the possibility that it might be supernatural in nature. It was all over TV shows and magazines too, with independent researchers checking out spiritual hotspots and giving fancy new age advice to people, just to boost ratings or sales. Maybe then, what's her name? Aiko isn't that bad? I don't know. And now this. Exorcism merchandise next to pre-packaged cupcakes and ready-made dinners. Get your talismans at the corner store now, huh? Not too long ago, I'd have made fun of all this crap. Guess it's not such a laughing matter anymore, though. Never thought I'd see the day when I'd pick up one of these things and wonder if it actually works. The item I was examining happened to be one of the spirit talisman magnets, seemingly the last one in stock. Humph! An old lady suddenly reached around me from behind and yanked it right out of my hands. What? She glowered at me for a moment before taking her prize over to the register. And I just stood there, staring blankly at her as she walked away. The hell? Okay. Thank you very much! There's flowers where that girl was now. It's a withered bouquet of flowers. Oh yeah, I heard there was a serial killer who'd recently done in a middle school girl around here. Like, 2 hours ago. These were probably left in memory of her or something. It's pretty messed up. It's late, I just want to go home, I think. Oh, wrong way then. Can I go up here? It's late, Is there a save anywhere? Can I save? Must have been emptied out recently as it's completely clean and only smells... Yeah, there's... nowhere. Oh, hello. Of course, I cannot save in this, but I can load. I mean, options? No. Well, let's look at the endings. There's only one for chapter 00. Okay. I would like to just be able to save, but there's no save point. It's been over an hour. Christ. You gonna run into him again, or not?
Kishinuma?
Yo. Shinozaki, what are you doing here this late? I thought you went home.
I did. Sorry to accost you like this. You just get off work?
Yeah, I had the late shift today. Wait, don't tell me you've been waiting here for me this whole time, have you? Man, I'm really sorry.
No, it's fine.
It was actually a really chilly night. I could see Shinozaki's breath dissipating around her chin in short, frequent bursts. It's not fine at all, you're shivering. You can come in if you want. I'll get you some hot tea or something.
Thanks.
My room was on the second floor of the apartment building. I hadn't been expecting guests, but I had just tidied up for my own sake a little while back, so it was fairly presentable. Shinozaki immediately sat down on my bed and began sipping the tea I'd made for her. She was holding it in both hands, probably less for politeness and more just to warm them up.
This is really good.
Isn't it? It's from my sister. She sends it to me all the time, since it's made from really good leaves. The sound of a large truck driving by seemed to catch her off guard. She was clearly a bit jittery, unsurprising all things considered.
They do construction at this hour?
Yeah, when it gets close to the end of the year. They do all kinds of pointless work out there. It's like this every night. I've been sleeping like crap because of it.
That sounds really annoying.
Sip. I'm just not gonna voice stuff like that. How do you... Fuck, I don't know. By the way, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I'm guessing Ayumi's not here because she wants to talk to Yoshiki. I'm guessing she's just gonna go straight to the fucking school. She's gonna trick him somehow, grab the stone, yay, and go. Time passed us by at a snail's pace. Shinozaki continued to sip her tea, never once removing either hand from the warm cup. She definitely had something on her mind. Something had happened. It was written all over her face. Are you fighting with your parents or something?
Uh-huh. Oh, don't worry. They know I'm here.
They do?
Yeah.
Shinozaki was in my room. Okay. I dreamed about this before, but never thought it would actually happen. Okay, but... I just kinda wanted to know, like, what you're doing here this late. Did something happen?
You could say that.
Seriously? You wanna go back to Heavenly Hosts right now? Okay, so I was half right. She's not trying to trick him, but she does want to go. I was half acting, as admittedly this wasn't entirely unexpected. Shinozaki may be a lot of things, but unpredictable is not among them.
Please?
So you came here to get the stone from me. I took out the Ever After stone I'd stolen from Aiko. Come on, Shinozaki, think about it. Yeah, the stone's got all glowy, so they probably can send you over. But what do you actually hope to accomplish once you get there? What if you get stuck again and can't get out? You'll die! And if you die over there, your existence will be erased over here. You'll be gone! Tried to be as strong and commanding as I could possibly muster. I needed her to realize what a bad idea this was.
I don't care if I'm erased, I just want to save our friends!
Save them?
The Grimoire. The Book of Shadows. I know where it is!
That book you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, here, look!
She had that photograph thing from Aiko with her and was pointing to the little girl's left arm.
It's been staring us in the face this whole time. Look in her hand. That is the Book of Shadows.
I didn't have to look very hard to see it, but... Okay, so she's carrying a book. Fine. But do you have any proof that it's the Book of Shadows?
No, but I don't think it could be anything else.
You don't think?
We just have to go to Heavenly Host and get it back. Then we can finally save everyone's souls from the Nirvana. We can finally resurrect Suzumoto and the others.
I like how they specifically, like, put them under the umbrella of Suzumoto and the others, as if you'd forget that Mayu existed, funnily enough, because she was kind of the least important character ever. How could I argue with that? There were so many assumptions being made, but she was so sure of herself, so certain that this would work. She wasn't about to listen to reason. Ah! Shinozaki shook her head furiously, like some sort of violent shudder. It almost seemed like she was trying to shake something loose from her mind. But can these rocks actually take us back to Heavenly Host? That girl, Aiko Niwa, was it? There was something just not quite right about her, don't you think?
Well, we won't know that until we test them now, will we? But if they do work, the souls of all our friends are on the line, and I believe we have a real chance of saving them.
Shinozaki. She still had deep scars all along her arms, legs, and neck. Anyone could tell at a glance that she'd just recovered from a serious accident. She sounded so self-assured, so self-confident, but it was hard to take any of that seriously. This was the first time in my life I'd found myself tearing up over someone and not being embarrassed that I was crying. Honestly, it surprised even me how deeply I cared about Shinozaki, and how much I just didn't want to lose her. My eyes were getting hot and glazed, and I felt utterly helpless.
I can't talk about this with anyone else, but you trust me, Kishinuma, don't you?
I was at a complete loss for words. I found myself literally scratching my head, trying to come up with a good answer. This was Shinozaki, and she had come to me for moral support, for encouragement, for peace of mind. It was really the first time she'd ever truly relied on me, ever truly counted on me. I knew then what I had to do. Damn it. You know what we went through in that piece of shit school. There's no telling what might be waiting for us over there now. But if you're sure about this, we should do it. Honestly, I have no idea what the hell you're thinking. But I promised you one thing and I intend to deliver on that.
What one thing?
That I'd protect you. No matter what. Shinozaki and I stared into each other's eyes for a moment, each of us trying to figure the other out. Don't worry, everything will be okay. I tried to force a smile. Shinozaki had basically curled up into a ball at this point. Her tiny body collapsed in on itself for support. But now, all of a sudden, she unfurled herself and glared at me. I couldn't tell if she was mad or happy or what. Her eyes were either like daggers or saucers. I couldn't really make out which. Maybe she'd come here expecting me to actively shoot down her ideas or something. Maybe she thought she'd be alone in this. Maybe she'd figured out what I was up to. Or maybe she'd been expecting me to say exactly what I'd said to her, and maybe it annoyed her? Either way, tears began to explode from her eyes, so quickly that red bags were forming under them almost instantly. She then turned her back to me, all with one seemingly unconscious spin of her body. Shinozaki? Are you okay?
During the day, you remember when you patted my head?
She seemed like she was trying her hardest not to let herself cry, though it wasn't exactly working. Huh? I did?
Yeah. You don't remember?
She paused, seemingly waiting for me to answer, but I had no idea what to say, and absolutely didn't want to say the wrong thing, so I just stood there like a dolt.
Never mind then. If you don't remember, that's fine.
Finally, she turned back to face me, her tears mostly dry. Still a little self-conscious about crying, though, she kept her eyes closed, a telltale frown belying her confidence. Isn't, like, one of her defining character traits regarding Kishinuma supposed to be, like, you know, that she's dense as fuck about his feelings for her? And now she seems, like, painfully aware of them, like... There was obviously something between the lines for me to read here, but hell if I knew what it was. And now they swapped it? Like, now he's dense as fuck, and she's painfully aware? Or did the writers forget that Yoshiki's the one who likes her, and she's not the one who likes him? Like, whatever. Here, let me see your stone.
Huh? Oh, okay.
Shinozaki removed the Ever After stone from her pocket and placed it squarely in my hand. I positioned it next to my stone and stared intently at the two. This was the turning point. What I did next could decide our fates. I couldn't mess this up. You're gonna take the driver with you. Outside my window, I could still hear the sound of construction vehicles driving by. It was now or never. Ha! In as close to one solid motion as I could manage, I opened my window and chucked the two stones out into the road. Oh, okay.
Hey!
I timed it perfectly, and my aim couldn't have been better. Another truck was just about to pass by, and the stones were immediately in its path. The sound I next heard was a satisfying crunch. It was the sound of delicate, glass-like rocks breaking into tiny pieces. Shinozaki had rushed over to the window and directly witnessed the fate of the Ever After stones. As soon as the truck drove over them, she collapsed to her knees. Like I said, I'll protect you no matter what I have to. Couldn't even finish my sentence before Shinozaki's palm slammed my face with incredible force. The loud smack of flesh on flesh echoed throughout the room. The side of my face was immediately in pain. I began rubbing it with my hand as I looked into Shinozaki's eyes. Wheezing? How am I supposed to voice wheezing? God characters get emotional in this game. Her face was filled with tears and her nose was running. She was breathing so heavily, her shoulders were bobbing up and down.
I never should have trusted you!
Shinozaki, listen,
I was wrong to believe you'd help me! I should have known better!
She was absolutely hysterical with rage. You think I can stand by and let you go back there? Back there? It was my turn to fire back now. I was certain I'd done the right thing. How do you even know for sure the book is there? And how did you intend to get it back from that girl once you got there? Going over there without a plan would be certain death.
I hate you! You're an ass! A delinquent! A worthless piece of shit!
That was half acting, half an actual laugh. Leaving me with those hurtful words, Shinozaki then pushed past me and ran out of my room, crying like a child the whole way. I stood back up again, rubbing my cheek where I'd been slapped. A worthless piece of shit! Ow! Damn, okay. Apparently he threw it that way.
Please, please! God, where are they?
Oh, fuck. Why am I playing as her now? Jesus Christ. Right there, obviously. Is there a candle? I want to save. Okay.
Found them! They're okay? But they were run over by a truck!
Dude man? Why would that matter? Those aren't just any old stones.
You!
Yep. Without the hood now. God, your hair is fucking wild. The method is in your grasp now, wrested from the opposition. Now it's time to indulge in what you've won, to push forward and put that method to the test. You can make the jump now. You're so much more than those filthy peasants. You can surpass them. You can interject your own will into the fabric of this world.
Are you on my side then?
Shinozaki!
Kishinuma!
I'm miles ahead of this trash. Huh? Who the hell? It's that guy I passed in front of Shinozaki's place. They're still intact? Damn it. Shinozaki, give them to me!
No!
This has to stop! You can't go over there! How many times do you think you can cheat death before death wins?
No!
She has not learned anything. Hand them over, damn it!
No!
Oh, okay. Yeah! Okay, so he's got supernatural powers. Bad dog. Ayumi, you asked if I was on your side. I am. I'm your guardian. I was Hinoe's, your sister's, protege. I owe a lot to her. My name is Misuto Kiria of the Yagoura Society. Oh, okay, the Yagoura again. Misuto, okay?
You were my sisters.
Good girl. You remember to chant to unlock their powers, don't you? Then let's get started. Let me see those stones. I don't trust this guy at all. This is the second person to invoke Hinoe's name to make it seem like they're on her side. Ah! Hold on tight to me. And here, a good luck charm. Don't lose it. I like how the range is just short enough to not include Yoshiki. Dun dun dun! Obtain Misuto's charm, the Argus Cube. Okay. Argus big guy, yeah. Shinozaki! Don't go! Don't!
I'm sorry. You don't need to worry about me anymore.
Shinozaki! You should live the life of a peasant. It's only fitting.
Stop. Nirvana, I summoned the dead!
Shinozaki! Oh. Twisty. This can't be happening. Shinozaki. Shinozaki! Damn it. Why? God damn it! Blah.
Yeah.
Yay, we back.
Where am I?
By the way, why is, like, Satoshi was only unavailable for 1 hour. Why is he just completely unavailable? Same with Yuka, same with Naomi, like, whatever.
The stench. This heaviness.
I remember this fucking room. It's a little repaired.
It's Heavenly Host. Huh? Misuto, where are you?
He took the stones, didn't he?
TF or after stones. They're gone! What do I do now? Misuto must still have them. But without them, without those stones, I can't get back. Misuto! I'm all alone in this school. Again. God. No, I can't start panicking. He's here somewhere. I'll find him. This is just how it happened last time, too.
Oh, flashlight. Ah! Alrighty. Ooh, spooky 3D model of a kid. Oh, hi? Oh!
Ah! Huh? Huh?
Phone? Ah!
Like a pomegranate.
No, 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 no!
Head so full of juice.
Welcome.
Ah! No!
Okay. Give me a fucking save point, for fuck's sake! Holy shit.
What in the fucking world? It wasn't this dark last time.
There's the board that we put last time, I remember.
There wasn't a clock like that in here last time either. I guess things really are different now. I hope Misuto hasn't gone too far. I don't even know his phone number.
I don't think he has a phone. He's clearly not human.
Actually, I should leave a message for him.
You're using your phone as a flashlight, I just realized. Yay!
Misuto, it's Ayumi. Please call me. 090XXXXXXXX. Good enough, I think. Now let's see if I can find him anywhere.
Yeah, let's see if I can find this fucking save the goddamn game option. Fucking Christ. Holy shit. Alright. Well, that's gonna be it for this episode. I did not expect it to be so fucking long. This game has a real problem with giving you save points. Like, woe unto the YouTubers who do 30-minute episodes. I'm glad I do hour-long. But still, nearly an hour and a half for this. Jesus. Oh well. That's gonna be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, then be sure to press the like button. And if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye! Yeah.